Hello friends, welcome back to Automation Testing Insider.com. This is Selenium WebDriver part 64 and we'll discuss about properties file today and usage of properties file in Selenium. But before I start this video, let me take you to my blog, that is Automation Testing Insider.com. So in the last video we talked about page object model using Page Factory. So if you navigate to my blog Automation Testing Insider.com and just navigate to this Selenium tutorial, and here you will find all the topics, and I have created a post on page object model as well. This is the first part and this is the second part, page object model using Page Factory. So just open it and here you will see the complete steps. Okay, complete notes I have written over here. This is pom.xml and these are the different steps to be followed to create base class. So here this is the base class and steps to follow to create page class. So here I have written step by step all the I have covered everything for that particular topic, page object model using Page Factory. And one more thing, we have posted few things on software testing as well. So if you click on that, so here you can see some manual testing concepts, SDLC and introduction to software testing, traditional software development models, different types of software testing method, and different software testing types. So you can also go through these post as well. So this is here we have different type of software testing. Okay, so you can go through this. Now let's come back to this topic. So we are going to talk about properties file in Selenium. So what is property file? So dot properties file, the extension of this property file is dot properties. Files are mainly used in Java programs to maintain project configurations like data, database configuration, and project settings, okay, etc. Each parameter in properties file is stored as a pair of strings. So we have key value pair format in this file, okay, where each key is on one line, and you can easily read properties file from some file using object of type properties. So we need to create the object of properties class and then we can access the property file. I'll show you demo like how we can access the property file. And what are the usage in Selenium? So in Selenium, dot properties file are mainly used to store GUI locators. So you can create like object repository as well, okay, where you can locate all your locators in properties file, okay, all UI locators or elements, and also global fields like URL. Nowadays we are using it for global variables, global fields like URL, username, password, file path, database configuration details, etc. So which are constant throughout our project. So these information we can keep in properties file, okay. So let's use the previous project which we have created in the last video, okay, and I'll show you how we can access properties file. So this is the project which I have created in the last session, POM page factory, page object model page factory. So what I'll do, I'll create one folder here to create properties file. So you can keep inside any package over here, you can create separate package, separate folder or package, okay. Here src in Java, but I think it's better to have in the form of folder over here in the project directory. So what I'll do, right click on project and new, we have folder. So here I'll create folder configuration, okay, and click on finish. And inside this folder I'll create one file. So let's say, yeah, if you right click new, and here we have file, and I'll give name like config dot properties. Make sure the extension should be properties, okay, properties. It's not property, it's properties. So just click on finish. So this is my properties file. So here you can keep URL, and username. You can keep username and password, yes, password as well, and some database configuration, okay, and some string, I mean file path as well. So let's use these three fields for now: URL, username, and password. Okay, so we'll pass these three fields from here, from properties file. We read the properties file and we'll access URL, username, and password from here. So what I'll do, already this is our project structure, guys. So in the last video, inside src main java, we have created couple of package: com.orange, hrm.base. So this is for base class, and for pages we have this com.orange hrm.pages. So here we have three pages, and in test folder src test java we have this com.orange hrm.test cases, where we have written our test cases, test classes. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll open this base class, and this is our URL. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll access this URL using properties file. So simply you'll put URL over here without giving double quotes. Okay, you need to just keep like this, because this is a string only, so you need to just keep like this. And we need username, so admin is username for orange hrm, and admin123 is the password. So we can keep like this, just do control s. So our configuration config.properties file is ready, and in base class what we'll do, we'll create a global variable here, public, in properties class. We'll create a object, I would say reference variable of properties class first, prop. Okay, and then I'll create one method inside base class, because base class is accessible from our child classes, from pages and from test classes. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll create one method here, read config, to read the configuration file. Okay, and here we need to create the object of properties. Okay, properties class. So how to create the object, new, and we have properties like this is how we can create the object, and we'll assign object to this variable prop. And there is another class, file input stream, so we'll use that. To load the configuration we need this file input stream. Okay, file input stream, so we have to, second, a file input stream obtains input bytes from a file in a file system. So to read the files we need this file input stream. Why it is giving, oh sorry, forgot new keyword. Now this is fine, and here we have to provide the, this will take, this is not a default constructor. Okay, so this is parameterized constructor, so here we have to provide file. Okay, so how to provide, we'll provide the this config.properties file path. So how to provide, so we have a system class, system.getProperty, and here we'll write user.directory. So this will root directory of your project, and we'll use plus operator to concate our path. So what is our path, this config.properties, right click on that and properties, and here we need to just copy like this, and yeah, put it over here like this. So all should be forward slash, or if you take backward, then double slash. This is fine, and last semicolon is there. Do one thing, do like this. Okay, and at last what we'll do, we'll use this object prop dot load. To load the configuration, we have load method, and in properties class, and here I'll pass this fs parameter, fs object from file input stream. Okay, and what I'll do, simply I'll use, we need to add a throws declaration, or will surround by try catch. So let's run with try catch. Try catch block like this, and yeah, so it will be handled, the exception will be handled using catch block. Okay, so this is how we can configure our read config. This is how we can read the configuration file. Okay, and what I'll do now, we are going to use URL from properties file. So these are all global variables, guys, so this will be used entire throughout entire project. So let's say if you are going to change the URL, then simply you have to just come into this property, come on this properties file, and you have to just change the URL from here. Okay, or let's say you want to test for any other user, so just come here and change the URL, username and password. So now let's use those username and password here. We have system class dot, oh, sorry, we have to use the prop object and get property. But before that, we need to call this method to load the configuration. So we'll call this method, because this is created inside a base class only, so I'll call this method directly from here, from our setup method. Okay, so the configuration will be read by I mean this method will be called, and all the configuration will be read. And yeah, so we need to use driver.get inside get method. Okay, so prop.get property, and inside double quotes we have to provide the URL like this. So this is for URL, so we can access the URL from config.properties. And let's do one more thing for username and password as well. So where is our test classes? So let's say login page test. So here we are passing the parameters in this login method in login test. Okay, so instead of that, what we can use prop dot get property, because this class is extends login page test extends base class, so we can read this prop directly. Okay, and then go get property, and here I'll write whatever name you have given, key you have to exactly copy that one, username. Okay, so this is for username, and for password prop dot get property, and here what is the password? So this is password key, so we need to pass like this. So all done. So simply what we have done, we have created a object of this properties reference variable firstly, and then we have created one method read config in base class, where to read the properties file. Okay, just 3 lines of code. We need to create the object of properties class and file input stream class. Okay, and just need to load the configuration, and simply we need to call the call this method get property and pass the key over here. Now everything is done. Where is our testng.xml? I'll simply run this testng.xml suite. So right click, run as testng suite. Let's see what happens. So browser is launched. Now here you can see it navigates to orange HRM. So the first test case is executed. This would be the second test case. If you remember, we have 3 test cases, and this would be the third test case. Entering username and password, and click on that admin tab and close the browser at the end. So here you can see all the test cases are passed. So if you see, we read the configuration from properties file. Okay, so this URL. Similarly, you can have some other configurations as well. Whatever is reusable constants are there, global variables, you can keep in properties file. Okay, so this is all done from my side, guys, for today, and in the next video we'll see a very important data driven framework, how to how to read Excel file from using Apache POI. We'll see in Selenium how we can do that. We'll look into it. Okay, so yeah, so please visit my blog as well. I have covered all the topics inside this Selenium tutorial, and in Java for Selenium, all the topics related to Java. And here we have question and answers as well, Java questions and answer and Selenium question and answers. And for manual testing, you can refer the software testing. So thank you so much. If you are new to my channel, then please subscribe it. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Hello friends, welcome back to automation testing insider.com. This is Selenium WebDriver part 65, and today I'm going to show you how to read Excel file in Selenium using Apache POI library. And it's very important topic. Before I start data driven framework, I think it's very important to understand how to read and write Excel file in Selenium WebDriver. So today I'll show you how to read Excel file, and in the next video I'll show you how you can write data into Excel file. Okay, so let's get it started. So how to write Excel file in Selenium. So basically in Selenium we don't have feasibility to read and write Excel file. So we need to take help of third-party API. So we have a couple of APIs, like we have JXL and Apache POI. So Apache POI is mostly it's very important and mostly have been used, this Apache POI. So to read and write an Excel, Apache provides a very famous library called POI, and this library is capable enough to read and write both XLS and XLSX file format. So there are 2 file formats in Excel. We have XLS and XLSX. Okay, so since we have couple of libraries, like as we have discussed, JXL and Apache POI, so what is the difference between them? Okay, so let's have a look in the next slide. So this is the difference between JXL and Apache POI. So the most important and significant difference is that Java JXL does not support XLSX format. Okay, it only supports XLS format. So this is the biggest difference. And the next one is JXL doesn't support conditional formatting, whereas Apache POI does the same. And JXL doesn't support rich text formatting, that is different formatting within a text string. Okay, but we have that ability to do in Apache POI. So these are few differences which I have listed down here. Okay, now let's talk about different classes and interfaces associated with Apache POI library. So these are the different classes and interfaces of Apache POI. So in the middle we have interface. We have different interfaces like workbook, sheet, row and cell. and corresponding we have uh, based on file format we have different classes. So for XLS we have these are the classes: HSSF workbook, HSSF sheet. Okay, and for XLSX file format we have XSSF workbook. Okay, so the only difference is the prefix, like here we have H and here we have X. So these are the different classes which implements these interfaces. Okay, HSSF workbook implements this workbook. Similarly, this XSSF workbook implements this workbook interface. Okay, so these are classes, and basically this the first row, this first line, HSSF workbook and this XSSF workbook represent an Excel file. Okay, and this is about sheet, and this is row, and this is cell. So this is about different classes and interfaces in Apache POI, and we'll create the object of a few classes here, and I'll show you a demo on that one. Okay, so how to start, how to read and write Excel file in Selenium. So first of all we need to download the jar files, supporting jar files. So we have this link. If you are using simple Java project, then you have to manually, you need to just download all the jar files, and you have to build those jar files in your project. So this is the link which I have. So if I'll provide the link in the description box of this video, and I'll post in my blog as well. So if you fire this URL, and you need to just click on the first one. The latest stable release is Apache POI 4.1.2. so just click on that, and you need to download this, the second option, this bin one. You have to download this one, and let me show you. Already I have downloaded. So here we have yeah, it will be downloaded in this zip file, and you have to unzip that, and it will look like this. So inside that we have few folders. So you need to export all the jar files. You need to import in your project all these jar files outside of the folders, and inside we have live, and this o XML live, we have few jars. Okay, so you need to just import all the jar files. And in case if you are using Maven project, so we have couple of dependencies for POI and for POI hyphen OOXML. So these two dependencies are required. Okay, and one important thing is you should have the same version for this POI, the first dependency, and for the second one as well. So here I have 4.1.2, that one is the latest one, and here we have 4.1.2. so both should be same. Okay, now let's go to Eclipse, and so let me create one project here. So project, I'll create Maven project. I'll give name like read Excel, and same I'll give artifact ID as well. Click on finish. So my project will be created here. So here you can see the project is created, and I'll open this pom.xml. Now I need few dependencies to download jar files. Okay, so first of all I need TestNG jar files, TestNG Maven dependencies. So just search in Google like this, TestNG Maven dependency. So here I can click the first link, and we have latest TestNG 7.1.0. so just click on that, and you need to just copy from dependency like this. Just copy it and put it in your dependency, inside dependencies tag. So just put it over here. Now we need couple of dependencies related to this Apache POI, right? So as we have discussed, so you need to copy these two as well, and put it over here. Now all done. Control Shift F and do Control S, so it will build all the jar files. Okay, so all done, I guess. So here you can see Maven dependency, this is TestNG, and we have this POI related Apache POI. This is Apache POI 4.1.2 and this is POI XML. Okay, so these are the jar files already added in my project. Now what I'll do, I'll create one package over here in this src main Java folder. So I'll give name like com dot, let's say, read Excel. Click on finish, and I'll create one class over here. I'll give name like read Excel. Okay, and click on finish. One more thing, we need to read Excel file, right? So we should have Excel file in our project directory. So what I'll do, I'll create a folder here. So just go to your project and right click, and we have new option, and here you can see we have folder. So just click on folder, and I'll give name like test data. Click on finish, and inside this what I'll do, I'll go to this path. Okay, so right click and click on properties, so you'll get this path. Simply we can navigate from here. So this is my project directory, this is the project directory, and this is test data, and here I'll create one Excel file, and I'll give name like test data, and just open it. And what I'll do, I'll create couple of columns. Okay, and we'll read using our program. Okay, so what I'll write, let's say first name 1, last name 1, like this. We can write data over here, and here I'll give first name 2, last name 2, and simply I'll drag up to 10. Let's have 10 rows. So here we have 10 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so we'll read these data with our program. And yeah, let me close this. 1 second, we have proper name, right? First name, last name. Yeah, all looks good. And let's check the file format. So we have this is yeah, here you can see XLSX file format. Okay, so we need to create the object according to this file format. Okay, and what I'll do, we need to just, I'll create one method over here, public void read Excel. So inside this I need to create few variables. So first of all we need Excel path, right? So I'll have this variable Excel path, and simply I'll copy, let me refresh this so that I can see. Yeah, this is my Excel file, and simply I'll copy this path. Okay, and I'll put it over here. So here I have taken one string variable to get the path of Excel file, and I'll take another variable, let's say file name. What is my file name? So file name is test data, and I'll have one more let's say sheet name, because we need to get the sheet as well to read the data. Let me just open here. So this is sheet 1. Let's rename it to test and do Control S. Let's close this. So what is my sheet name? That is test. So here I have taken 3 variables, string variables, and now I need to create the object of file class. So how to create the object? With new keyword, and like this we can create. And here you need to provide the Excel path, the file path. So done. One second, this is not required. Yeah, so we need to, and this is to create the object of file class to uh, get the Excel path, to get the file path. Okay, and now to read the file, to read the file we need file input stream. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, file input stream will create the object of file input stream, and with new keyword file input stream, and here we'll provide our file. So file is here. Now we'll do one thing, we need to create the object of let me show you. For we have this format, right, XLSX file format. So we need to create the object of XSF workbook. So let's create the object of XSF. Here we have XSF workbook. Let's say I'll take variable WB, and with new keyword workbook, and here we need to provide the FIS, the object of this file input stream. So far it's done. We need to add throws declaration, we'll do that. Let's declare throws. I'll do one thing, I'll have this base class exception so it will take care of other exceptions as well. So we have couple of objects here. Now I will create the object of using this object, what we can do is dot get sheet. One second, we can get the sheet. Okay, and here we'll provide the sheet name. This is how we can get, and we'll store in sheet class object. Okay, so here I'll provide like this we can do, and instead of this sheet object, what you can have, you can XSF sheet. Yeah, this is how we can take. So what I have done, I have called a method called get sheet, so we can get the sheet name by calling this method, and that will return XSF sheet object. So here I have stored like this. Okay, because the first thing is we have given the file path of, to get the file path where our Excel sheet is present, and second one is to read the file, we have created the object of file input stream, and later on to get the Excel sheet we have this XSF workbook for particular file format. So here I have provided the file input stream object, and later on we need to get particular sheet. So here we'll provide the sheet name, which is test. Okay, now what we'll do, using this object we can call get last row number. Okay, so this is how we can get the total row count. Okay, so let me just print this, and I'll show you how to print the data. Total rows, and here I'll simply give row count only. So this will give you, let me run this. So what I'll do, so I cannot run this class, so I'll use @ test over here. so that we need to add TestNG library so that I can run this class. Now I have to import test.org testng.annotation, so I can run this. So let me run it whether it is working or not. So it should print the total rows, and it starts, the index starts from 0, so it will print 9. So let's have a look. So our test is passed, and here you have a 9. Okay, so total rows 9, but we have 10 rows. Okay, so I have, so it starts from 0, so that's why it prints 9. Now what I'll do, how to get the particular data, right? So how to get that? So let me, we have sheet dot get row number. Let's say I want to get the first row. Okay, so row is 0 dot get cell. So let's say I want the second, so I'll put 1 and then get cell. 1 second, what is get string? We have one, so we have different 1 second, oh sorry, dot get string cell value. So we have different methods over here. You can see numeric value, raw value, reference, rich string. So we are going to use this string value, string cell value. Okay, we are going to use this method. Now it will, and it will give a string variable. So I'll store, let's say, data, and then I'll simply print that. So let's print that. So it should print the first, I mean 0th row. So this is 0th row, and yeah, this one is 0th row, right? And first column, so this is the first column, sorry, 0th column, and this will be the first. So it should print last name 1. So let's have a look. So successfully passed. So here you can see last name 1. So this is how you can print. And now what I'm gonna do, let's print all the values. Okay, so we need 2 for loops. Okay, so, and yeah, so how we'll print? So we'll print, we'll get first this row, and we'll print column wise. Okay, the first we'll get, iterate through rows wise, and then we'll print like first name, last name, first name to last name to, like that. Okay, so let's do how we can do that. So we need 2 for loops. For, let's take one variable, I is equal to 0, and I less than or equal to till this row number. Okay, total row number, and I plus plus. And what I'll do here, we need this sheet dot get row method is there. Why it is not there? How to get the row? Sheet dot, 1 second, get row. Here we have, yeah, and here I'll provide. So this will get the particular row. So we'll get the particular row first, and then we'll print column wise. So let's say I'm getting this first, the first row, and then I'll print first name and last name, and then I'll iterate row by 1. Okay, and then it will get into second row. So like that. So I'll store this in, we have a row class, and I'll give row like this. Okay, and I'll start the second for loop. Second for, I'll use second variable j is equal to 0 and j less than row dot, we have get, we have one method get, one second, sheet get last, no, we have till last row, last column, right? So we have get last cell number. Yeah, so row dot, in this row object we have, in this row class we have a method called get last cell number. Okay, so it will run till here, two columns we have, and I'll do j plus plus, and inside this loop what I'll do, simply I need to just get the data sheet dot get and get row dot, so row should be j, and get cell, so sorry, this should be I and this should be j dot get string, get string cell value like we does earlier. Okay, so this will, this row and this is cell. Okay, and this will get the value, get cell value. So I think we are done. Now let's simply print this, right? So we'll store in variable called data, and how to print, one second, we have data, let's put data1 and simply print this. I'll print in a single line, so I won't use print ln, and here simply I'll print, one second, I'll simply give this data1 over here, and then what I'll do, after printing one first value I'll give some space and then last name, so that's why I have used space like this. So this is done, and after this for loop we need to print one line so that it will print in the next line. Okay, so for that we'll simply use this print ln statement. I think all done, so I can run this program, everything is done. So let me just run it, run as TestNG test. So one test case is passed, so let me just have a look. So here you can see first name, last name, first name, last name 2, like this. So we have 10 rows, right? So this is how we can print, we can get all the data from Excel sheet. So the format we have XSF, XLSX format. Okay, so that's why I have created the object of XSSF workbook. Now let's create one library, because this is not a recommended way. So I'll create one library from where we can get, we can call the method, we can create one method get data or something, and then from there we can call from our test case. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So do not worry guys, I'll post this source code in my blog. Okay, and what I'll do now, Yeah, inside this package only, let's create Excel library, and click on finish. And yeah, let's have a look for this class first. So I need couple of objects. Okay, so what I'll do, XSF workbook we need, so I'll create one reference variable of XSSF workbook, and we need XSSF sheet, so I'll give name sheet here. And yeah, now I'll create one constructor so that my class, I mean this will be loaded every time when we create the object of Excel library class. Okay, the constructor should be called every time, so we'll write this piece of code inside constructor. Okay, the one which we have written, created the object of few classes over here, so we'll write the same over here. So public Excel library, and simply I'll create the constructor like this, same name as class name. And what I'll do here, we need to just create the object of first of all I need to have this file path, so simply copy this. I can have it over here. This is the first thing we want. And another thing, what do we need is, we need to create the object of file, right? File class, so we can copy from here, no problem. File class, so simply copy like this. And we need to create the object of, and guys, I forgot to close this object, so always it's good practice to close your object. Okay, so I have created the object of this XSSF workbook, so close the object at the once you are done with your uh, code. Okay, so otherwise it will give an error, maybe because memory related. Okay, so better to close, that's recommended way. And yeah, coming to this, we need to create the object of file input stream, so simply create the object of file input stream. I'll copy paste. And what we need to do, yeah, we need to create the object of XSF workbook as well. So since already I have created a reference variable, so simply I'll use like this. Okay, and it's throws declaration, so simply exception class over here. All are done. Now what I need, I think everything is done. Now simply I'll create one more method, and from there public void read data will read the data from the second method. Okay, so how to read the data, and here I'll provide three variables. So a string, I'll provide the sheet name, and I'll provide int row and column like this. And what I'll do, I'll use this object sheet, and I'll get the data. Sheet dot get, we have get row, right? One second, first we have to get the sheet name, get sheet name. Okay, and I'll provide sheet name over here dot, one second, get sheet name does not have sorry, we need to use this object first. sorry guys, one second. Get, and we have sheet, get sheet. Okay, and I'll pass this sheet name over here, so we can get the sheet name. And yeah, this will give you will store in this worksheet variable like this. I think this is fine. Now what I'll do, I'll get the particular data, so use this variable get sheet and get row, get row dot, one second, pass this row, the variable which we have taken here, dot get cell, we have column, and dot get string cell value, the method which we called last time in the last class as well. Okay, so this is done, and I'll store, this will return the string type of data, right? So let's store in string data, and finally what I'll do, will return this data, and simply we have to change the return type to string. So this, our method is done. I think everything is fine here. So what I have done in this Excel library, I have created couple of object of workbook and sheet. Okay, and I have written one constructor so that it will be loaded every time. And this is the Excel path. We have created the object of file class. Similarly, we have created the object of file input stream, where we passed the file path. Okay, and later on we have created the object of, I mean, this is how we can refer, we have created the object of XSSF workbook, and we have separate method to read the data. Okay, so that will read and return a string type of data from Excel sheet. Now what I'll do, I'll create test case in test package. So simply I'll give name like test cases inside my src test java. So click on finish, and what I'll do, I'll create one test case, let's say read Excel test, and here I'll write public void read Excel test method, and I'll give annotation at the test. We have to import test from org.testng.annotations. Now what I need to do, I need to create the object of this Excel library, right? So simply we'll create the object of Excel library, like this we can create, and we have to import Excel library from this package com.readexcel. Okay, and what this is giving, yeah, it will throws declaration, so exception. Now using this object we'll call our method which we have created, read data, this read data. Okay, and here we'll provide few parameters. Okay, sheet name, which sheet we want, and row and column, particular row and column. So simply we can call obj dot read data. What is sheet name? This is my Excel sheet, so sheet name is test. So in double quotes I can provide the sheet name over here, and which row I want. So this is 0 1 2 3 4, let's say fifth, so I'll provide fifth, and column is first. So it should print last name 6. So let's see whether it will print or not. So this will return string type of data stored like this, and simply you have to just print that. the data is, and just print this variable. Okay, so let me just run it because we have given this at the test. So we can run TestNG. We can run this as TestNG test. Hope it should run. Yeah, it is run successfully. Now if you see the console, here you can see last name 6. So this is how we got. Okay, so this is how you can create the Excel library as per your requirement. Like here I have created, and we can call this method anytime in our test case. This where is that, this read data method. Okay, and it will take based on, we need to just provide the sheet name and row and column. Okay, so this is how you can do. You can read Excel file in Selenium WebDriver. And in the next video guys, I'll show you how to write data into Excel file. Okay, and I'll provide the complete notes in my blog, that is automationtestinginsider.com. If you navigate to automationtestinginsider.com and just navigate to this Selenium tutorial, and here you will find all the tutorials. Okay, and here I'll provide the complete notes and source code of this particular session. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day, and if you're new to my channel, then please subscribe it. Thanks a lot. Bye. Hello friends, welcome back to automationtestinginsider.com. This is Selenium WebDriver part 66, and today I'll show you how to write data into Excel file using Apache POI library. Okay, so last time we have seen how to read data from Excel file. Okay, and today I'll show you how to write data into Excel file. So regarding the previous session, already I have created a post. Okay, so you can go through that. So if you navigate to my blog, that is automationtestinginsider.com, and we have a tab called Selenium Tutorial. Just click on that, and here you will find all the topics related to Selenium. I have segregated them into different parts, different headings. Okay, so here you can see Selenium basics, HTML DOM and locators. So similarly we have WebDriver commands and controls. So if you just scroll down, here you will find a read Excel file in Selenium using Apache POI. This is under form DataDriven Framework. Okay, so just click on that. So here you'll see the complete notes on what we have discussed in the last video, and we have source code as well. Okay, so you can just go through it, and you can practice what we have discussed so far in the previous session. Okay, now let's come back to today's topic. So my Eclipse is already opened here. So last time we have created a project called read Excel. Okay, so I'll use the same project. Okay, I will not create any other project. So what I'll do, last time we have created this package, and inside that we have couple of classes, and we have test package as well, com.testcases. Now I'll create one more package over here inside srcb and Java. So what I'll do, I'll create, right click new, and we have package over here. So I'll give name com.write Excel. Click on finish, and inside that I'll create a class. Click on finish, and last time we have created Excel file inside this folder. Where is that folder? Test data. What is that folder? A file name test data. So if you open that, so last time we used this Excel sheet to read the data, first name and last name. Now let's say we have one scenario where we need to write the third column. Okay, we want to write some values over here. So how to write the values? Okay, so we'll see the scenario. So let's say in the third column we are going to write gender. Okay, so because we have first name last name, take an example. This is gender column, so we'll write male, female, something like that. Okay, so let's do that. So this is my program. Here I'll this is my class, and here I'll create one method, write Excel, and inside this method what I'll do, and we need to ultimately we need to first I would say we need to read this, right, this Excel file, because already we have existing Excel file. So we need to read that Excel file, and let's take some parameters over here. String sheet name, int row, int column number, okay, and will take one more parameter, cell value, which we are going to set. So we have 4 parameters in this method, okay. The sheet name, where we are going to write our data, okay, and we have cell value, what is the value we are going to set, and we have row number and column number, which I have given accordingly, like row and column in integer, and sheet name and cell value string type, okay. Now let's have Excel path. Where is our Excel path? Okay, and simply right click here, and this is our Excel path. So I'll copy the complete Excel path and put it over here. So this is my Excel path, and what I'll do, I'll create the object of file class, okay, right. Last time we did the same, and I'll give file, new file, and I'll provide the Excel path over here, like this you can do, right. And to read the Excel file, what we need to do, we need a file, we need to create the object of file input stream. So simply create the object of file input stream, FIS, you can give object name and new file input stream, and we'll provide the file over here. This is our file, right. And what is next, now we need to create the object of XSSF. Since we have this XLSX Excel sheet, right, so we need to create the object of XSSF workbook. Okay, so we'll create the object of XSSF workbook. Workbook, yeah, it is coming now, and we'll pass our file input stream object over here. Fine. Now let me add throws declaration. So I'll give the superclass exception. So error is gone now. Now what I'm going to do, so now we need to create the object of XSSF sheet to read the Excel sheet, the particular sheet, okay. So I'll give object as sheet, and here what I'll do, we have object workbook object dot get sheet, right. We need to get particular sheet first of all, and here I'll provide sheet name. So we can get the sheet name from parameter which we are going to pass. So this is how we can do. Now what I'm going to do, we want to set the values, okay. We want to set this particular value which we can get from parameter, which we'll get from parameter, okay. So how to set the value, sheet dot get row method will be there, get row, and row from where we'll get will get the row from parameter, okay, which will pass. And we have method called create cell. So this will create the particular cell which where we are going to write our data. And here we'll provide column number, and then uh, set cell value. Set cell value is there, and we have to take like this. We have method set cell value. To set the value, we have particular method set cell value, and here we'll provide the this cell value. Sounds good. So all done. Now this part to read the Excel file, and yeah, to get the Excel sheet. Okay, now here to set the value. Now we need to write the data into it. Okay, so for that we have file output stream. Okay, file output stream. So if you mouse over, let me show you once. FOS will create the object of file output stream, and we have file output stream like this. And here we need to provide the path of the Excel file which we have here, because ultimately we need Excel file over here, so that's why we have created the object of internally file class. Okay, so this is how you can provide. And if you mouse over this file output stream, what it does is, a file output stream is an output stream for writing data to a file. So that's why I have created the object of file output. XSF workbook object, that is WB, and will write content using this write method in the Excel sheet. Okay, the write method from, let me just, we have write method, and here we need to provide output stream. So what is our output stream? FOS. So this is how you can do, and this will write into Excel file. Okay, and simply you have to just close the object, and we have FOS dot close. So just close both the objects. So this is simple library to write data into Excel file. So what we have done, we have created a class write Excel, and inside that we have method write Excel. We have 4 parameters: sheet name, cell value, and row and column. And this is Excel path which already we have, I have given over here. And we have created the object of file class, and then input stream to read the Excel file. And later on we have created the object of XSSF workbook to read the XLSX file format, Excel file format. Okay, and we have this sheet object XSSF, and later on we have create cell and set cell value to set particular value into Excel file. And later on, to write the data into Excel file, we have created the object of file output stream, and then using write method we write the data into Excel file. Okay, and at last we are closing both the objects. Now what I'll do, I'll create test case in this test folder. Yeah, so simply I'll create one test class over here, write Excel test, click on finish. So what I'll do, I need to create the object of this class so that I can call this method. Okay, so simply I'll create the object first, obj is equal to new, like this, and inside that I will create method write Excel test, like this. And we need to just import this from com.writeExcel, our package. Okay, so package is imported, and we have created method called write Excel test. I'll give test annotation so that we can run our test case through TestNG. and simply I'll use this object and call what is our method, write Excel. So we need to just provide the sheet name. We have sheet name test. Let me open, and suppose I want to write over here. So this is 0th row and 0 1 2 second column. Okay, so cell value what I am passing, let's say mail, and this is 0th row and column is second column, and this will throws exception. Okay, so this is done. So let me just run it. Hope everything is fine. Yeah, so let me just run it. Run as TestNG test. So here you can see our test case executed successfully. Let me close this Excel sheet first and I'll refresh the project. Refresh it and open this Excel sheet again. So here you can see the value is entered successfully, written over here in this Excel sheet. Okay, mail. Now I want to write next to that, right below that. So I'll create one more test case and I'll provide test case 1, and this second column will be there, and I want to write now first row. This is 0th row and I want to write now first row. So this is how you can write, and instead of male I'll write female. Okay, so let me rerun it again. So test, both the test cases got passed. Here you can see write Excel test, write Excel test 1. Simply refresh your project and just open this Excel sheet. So here you can see male and female. So this is how you can write data into Excel sheet, and I'll provide this simple code, simple library to write data into Excel sheet. Okay, and guys, I'll provide the complete code and notes in this in my blog. Okay, and in the next video, which is very important, we'll talk about different libraries. Okay, so what are those different libraries? So let's have a look. So we'll talk about complete Excel library in the next video, where we'll get I'll talk about different libraries, like how to get total row count, how to read the value from Excel sheet, how to set the value into Excel sheet. So far we have covered these three. Like in the previous video we talked about like how to get the row count and how to read the value from Excel sheet. Now today we have seen that how to set the value into the Excel sheet. Okay, and but there are some other libraries as well. So I'll show you all these library into one class. Okay, so we'll have separate methods related to all these I would say queries, okay, into one Excel one Java class. So simply what we need to do is we need to just call these methods. Okay, we have different methods, so we need to just call the methods and get the desired result. So similarly we have how to add a new sheet in Excel sheet, how to remove existing Excel sheet, how to add column, how to remove column, and we have how to check if the particular Excel sheet is exist or not, and we have how to get column count and how to get cell row number. So these are the different functionality we are going to see in the next video. These are the different libraries. Okay, in one Java class I'll show you in the next video. So thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day, and if you are new to my channel then please subscribe it. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Hello friends, welcome back to automationtestinginsider.com. This is Selenium WebDriver part 67, and the previous two videos we talked about how to read data from Excel sheet and how to write data into Excel sheet. Now apart from reading and writing, we have some other activities as well. We can perform some different tasks on Excel sheet as part of our testing. Let's say suppose we want to add a new worksheet. Okay, so how we can do that? Suppose we want to remove one existing worksheet, how we can do that? And suppose you want to add new column, you want to remove some columns. So these are some different tasks you can perform on Excel sheet, and this is that is part of your automation testing as well. You can manipulate different things in Excel sheet. Okay, so today we'll talk about complete Excel library where we can perform all these activities. Okay, and we have different corresponding methods related to these activities. Okay, and already I have that library, complete Excel library, and I have been using that, and that is really good, and you can apply in your project as well. Okay, I have used in my real-time projects as well, so that is very good library, guys. So you can use that as well in your project. So these are the methods available in that Excel library. Okay, so that Excel library is nothing but your Java class where we have different methods. Okay, so let me just go to the next slide. Yeah, so these are the different things which we can perform. Okay, and we have corresponding methods. Let's say suppose we want to get the total row count, so we have this for that we have get row count method. Okay, similarly how to read the value, which we have seen in the previous videos, right? The first of Excel sheet, how to read the value from Excel sheet we have seen, and later on we have seen how to write the data into Excel sheet. So these two things are also included in that Excel library, and we have corresponding method like get cell data and set cell data. Okay, so this will read the data from Excel sheet, and we have two same get cell data method, but they have different parameters. Okay, so this get cell data has a sheet name, and here we can provide column name directly. Okay, whereas in the next get cell data we can provide column number. Oh, so that is the difference. Okay, and we have set cell data. Similarly, if we want to, suppose we want to add new worksheet in our Excel sheet, so how we can add? For that we have add sheet method. Similarly, we have remove sheet, add column, remove column. So these are the different methods we have based on our requirement. Okay, so these are the things which we are going to discuss today. So let's get started, guys. And yeah, this is very good library, and I'll provide the complete code, this Java class, in my blog description box of this video. I'll provide the link over there. Okay, so let's get started. So last time we have discussed, we have created this read Excel project where we have created a couple of packages like com.readexcel, and we have com.writeexcel. Okay, and we have couple of classes inside read Excel. We have seen we have created a simple class first, and then we have created a library as well. And last time we have created write Excel Java class. Okay, and corresponding we have test classes. From there we have written some test cases, and we called the methods from read Excel package from these two classes. Okay, from for writing we have called methods from here. Okay. And one important question a few people are asking that let me open this one first, Excel library. Yeah, so here to read the data I have this read data method, correct? And the data type of this is string. Okay, so this will get the data, the string type of data only. Okay, so let me open Excel sheet as well. So we have this test data over here, so let me open here. Okay, so whatever data we have in Excel sheet, all will be treated as string. So that's why I have used here string type of value, method. Okay, so this will get the string value, and the return type of this method is string. So this will give me a string type of data, because all the cells will be treated as string in Excel sheet by default. Suppose you want want to specify particular column or cell to particular data type like boolean or let's say in date format or double. Okay, so in that case what you can do is we can have some different methods as well. So you can create simply new method, okay, where you need to call different method according to your data type. So let me show you. Here we have get. See, we have called this method get string cell value, so it will get the string cell value only. Okay, and similarly we have this date cell value, so it will get the date. When it is in date format, then it will get the date. We can call this method. Okay, similarly we have for double, I think we have this one, numeric cell value. So these are the different reach string format. When we have reach string format, then we can call this method. So these are the different methods inside because this is the sheet class object. Okay, so we can call different methods inside this. To get the data, we can call different methods according to your usage. So for now we have called this get string cell value because all the data types are string. And let's say suppose you have some double value over here like 3.5, then you can still you can use this method. And suppose you want to convert that into double, then you can do in your script. Okay, I'll show you today like how you can convert from string to double, and you can use that in your script. Let's say suppose you want to add some value in with this one. Okay, with this 3.5 you want to add some more values, you want to perform some other actions, so you can perform after converting that into double. Okay, so this is how you can go ahead. Now today I have created another worksheet in this test data folder. Okay, I mean in this Excel sheet only. So here we have employee worksheet. So today we'll work with this one. I'll show you how we can call different methods which we talked about in Excel library, and we'll perform different actions. Okay, so let me close this for now, save it. Yeah, now let me get my Excel library which already we talked about. Okay, so already I have in my previous project, so let me get that. I think we have in this project utility. So this is the library. So simply I'll copy this class and I'll put it over in my current project. And what I'll do, I'll create a new package. I'll give name like no, com.utility, and simply click on finish. And inside this I'll sorry, I need to paste because already we have copied. So this is my Excel library, guys. Okay, so simply you can copy paste in your project this class and you can reuse it. Okay, and yeah, already we talked about how to read the data and how to write the data into Excel sheet. So I think it would be easy to understand this, and no need to understand deeply also, like you can reuse it. I have been using this, but still if you have any questions or anything, then you can ask me. Okay, but directly you can use this library. Okay, I'm not going to explain this library now because already we have covered like how to get the data from Excel sheet and how to write the data into Excel sheet the, in the simple manner. Okay, so this class has a couple of constructor. I'll talk about it later on when we create the object of this class to call all these methods from this class. Okay, so first of all let me create one test class. Okay, inside src test java we have com.test cases. So here simply I'll create one test class. I'll give name Excel test, click on finish, and here I'll write my first test case, public void. I'll give name like test case 1, and here I'll provide @test annotation so that we can run our test case using TestNG. So simply we have to import test from org.testng.annotations. Okay, now how to use these methods which we talked about. Okay, so for that what we need to do is we need to create the object of this class, our Excel library. Okay, so simply, and we'll create a class level so that we can use that object in all our test methods. Okay, so simply I'll create the object over here, and we have to import this from com.utility package. So simply we have to import this class. Okay, and guys, as I have told, we have couple of constructors. So in case, let me show you. So in case if you have if you want to specify the path in the Excel library itself, then you have to give your path over here. So this is the root directory, and from here you can give the XLS path, like we have test data and test data.xlsx, like that we can give. Here I have given right like that. Okay, and suppose you don't want to give over here, in case if you specify your path over here, then you have to call this default constructor which I have called here like this. Okay, and suppose you want to pass the string, I mean a path as parameter, the Excel path as parameter, then you have to simply specify your path over here. So let me specify path over here. Even I have the correct path over here, but still I want to, I mean test it dynamically. Okay, I want to pass the Excel sheet dynamically. So simply I'll provide the Excel path over here. So right click here and simply I'll copy our Excel path and I'll put it over here. Okay, now simply I can use this object and call whatever required method we have. Okay, so let's say in the first test case what we are going to do, what is the first method? Get row count. Okay, so how to get the total number of rows? So simply we can call that method. We have here get row count, and here we need to provide the sheet name. So what is the sheet name? Let me open it first. So this is our Excel sheet, and employee is the sheet name. So simply I can provide employee over here. Okay, and this is ready, and this will give you int value. Okay, so simply we can store, we can write like total rows, and here will print total rows like this. Okay, and let me run this. Now it is ready. So it should print how many rows we have. We have 6 rows. Okay, including this header. So it should print 6 on the console. So let's have a look. Run as TestNG test. The test case is passed, and if you see the console, we have total rows 6, number of rows 6. So this is how you can call the method from library. And we have, let's write another test case, and I'll give priority as well, though they are in particular order, but still let me just give some priority, and I'll put test case 2 for the second test method, and this time we'll get cell data. Okay, so we have couple of get cell data method. Okay, so first let's call this one, where we can simply provide the column name. So we can call that method get cell, yeah, sorry, not this one, get cell data, this one. Okay, so here we need to provide the sheet name, what we have, employee, and column name. Suppose I want to get the data from the salary column, so simply I can provide salary over here and row number. So I want this 5000. So what is the row number? Fourth row number. So simply I'll write 4 over here, and then we should get that, and this will give you a string type of data. Okay, and simply here I'll write salary, and I'll write like salary is, okay, like this. So let me just run it. We have 2 test cases, both are passed, and if you see the console, we have 5000. Okay, the one which we retrieved, we talked about, okay, 5000. So we got 5000 in our script in console. Okay, now I'll call another method. Okay, and this time I'll give priority 3, and this will be our third test case. And what is the method? Get cell data. Okay, so this time I'll call the different method where we need to provide column number. Okay, and sheet name will be the same, employee, column number. So let's say I want this time this value, okay, this 2.5, and what is the column number? So column will start from 0, so 0 1 2 3 fourth column. So I'll put column 4, and row number, second row. So this is the first row and this is the second row. So like this you can give. So it should give, and this should be rating variable, and this should be rating. Okay, let me run it again. Run as TestNG test. So all 3 test cases got passed, and if you see in the console, it will get 2.5, right? So now suppose as we have already discussed, so this looks double, right? But it is a string. So how to convert that into double? So let me give an example. Let's say we have one variable a is equal to 10, and I want some, and this rating, yeah, suppose I want to add this int value into this rating number. Okay, so let's say what it shows. So it will give an error. Okay, change type of sum to string, because this rating type is string type. So how we can convert this rating into double? So let me show you. So we have double wrapper class, guys, and in this class we have one method called value of, and here I'll provide our double value rating, and we have to change the type of sum to double. Okay, and here we can add a string, no problem with that one. So here we can add this a value. So a has 1. Now the rating should be 3.5. So let me print this. So the rating is now, and some, yeah, let me run this again. Run as TestNG test. So 3 test cases we have, and if you see the console, salary is 2.5, the rating is now 3.5. Sorry, I have, this should be rating. I did not change earlier. Yeah, so here you can see 3.5. So this is how you can convert from string to double as per your usage. So like we have discussed earlier, we can call, you can use this method only to get the string value from Excel sheet, even though that is kind of I mean integer or double or any data type. So we can get that data and we can convert as per our usage later on in the script. So that is how we can do. And what is next method? Because to get the particular data type, let's say suppose I want double value, so that value has to be double over here. So we can go, we can change this, we can convert that into double from Excel sheet, because by default it will be treated as string type value only. So that's why we have to call this method only. Okay, if you give double over here, then it will give an error. Okay, so now what is the next method? Set cell data. So we can set the value in Excel sheet, so already we have seen, so you can use this one. And let's say we want to add new sheet. So how to add new sheet? Close this. Yeah, so I'll write another method here, public void test case 4. Let's set some value also. Yeah, we can call this method one by one. We'll see. Set cell data. Okay, so how to set the value? So suppose I want to set the value, I want to update the value for this ID. Okay, so I want 105 over here. So how to update that? So how we can do? Obj dot set cell data, and we can provide sheet name. What is the sheet name? We have employee. Column name we have ID. Row number, so that is second row. And data, what we want to set. So let's say, yeah, we want 105. So simply we can call this. So let me, yeah, this will be, we have to give a test as well. This should be test priority 4 or test case number 4. So let's run it. We'll see whether it will update. Yeah, all 4 test cases got passed. We have to first close this and reopen it again. It is not updated. Why? Second. Set cell data. 1 second, let me call it again. Set cell data. Sheet name we have employee. Column name we have ID, right? ID and row number. Row is the second row. And data, what data we want? So we want 105. So let's run it again, and this will give you boolean result, so we can store in boolean value. So but anyways, let's run for now. Yeah, all 4 test cases got passed, and let me just refresh it. Open the test. So here you can see 105 is being updated over here. Okay, so this is how you can set this value. And suppose I want to add add the sheet, okay, new worksheet. So how to do that? Public void test case 5 and obj dot add sheet is there method, and simply will provide the new worksheet which we are going to add. So let's say I'll give name like new sheet, okay, and this will be added. And suppose you want to check whether it will be added or not, so this will give you boolean result, boolean value. So you can store in boolean variable, let's say flag, and simply you can print as well whether that will be updated or not. So the flag is it will give you true or false value based on whether it will update or not. Okay, so this fifth test case is ready. Simply I'll give 5 over here. Yeah, let me just run our program. So new sheet should be added. So all 5 test cases got passed, and if you see the console for the fifth test case, the flag is true. So that should be updated here. So let me refresh the folder, and if you open here, you can see this new sheet has been added. So this is how you can do, guys. And let's say I want to remove that worksheet. Okay, so we have remove method as well, remove sheet. So simply I'll change it to remove. Let's copy this and we'll call a remove sheet method, and here I'll provide the name of the worksheet which we want to remove. Okay, so this should work. All executed. Refresh the project and open the Excel sheet, and here you can see the worksheet has been removed. So this is how you can call different methods from Excel library. So these are the different methods, so you can play around with other methods. Okay, you can call them in your script and you can see the results. So I think I'm done for today, guys. So I'll provide the complete Excel library, this one, in my blog. Okay, and I'll provide the link of my blog in the description box of this video. Okay, and if you like this video, then please share it and click on like as well. And yeah, if you're new to my channel, then please subscribe the channel and click on bell icon to get the notification. So thank you so much, guys. And one more thing I want to update. So in the next video we'll talk about data-driven framework. Okay, so thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Hello friends, welcome back to automationtestinginsider.com. This is Selenium WebDriver part 68, and today we are going to talk about data-driven testing, or I would say data-driven framework, or we can say parameterization. And previous few videos we talked about how to read data from Excel file, how to write data into Excel file, and in the last video we have seen the complete Excel library. So we are going to use those concepts in data-driven testing, and this is an important topic, most important topic I would say. So today we'll look into what is data-driven testing and why it is required. So we'll talk about some theoretical stuff, and later on I'll show you demo as well. So let's get started. First, like, what is data-driven testing? So what is data-driven testing? So the name itself says that data-driven testing. So the testing which is driven by data. So this example, or I would say this definition, I have taken from guru99.com. So what it says, data-driven is a test automation framework which stores test data in a table or spreadsheet format. So in data-driven testing, we'll maintain the test data in separate file. Okay, you can say Excel sheet or in database, and we'll execute a script. We'll pick the test data from our data file and we'll execute the script. So this allows automation engineers to have a single test script which can execute tests for all the test data in the table. So we'll maintain our test data in a spreadsheet in rows and column format. Okay, and we'll supply the test data into our script, and from there we'll perform actions on our application. Okay, so this image shows the same thing. So this is our data file from where we are supplying the data to our driver script. Okay, from driver script, or you can say test script, we are picking up the data from data file and performing action on this application under test. Okay, and this will give us some result. So, and this would be actual result, and we'll compare with our expected outcome. Okay, so that will give you result, like whether your test case is getting passed or failed. Okay, so this is like how it works, data driven testing. So the basic example, or I would say the basic definition and basic explanation of data driven testing. Now what is next is why data driven testing is required. Okay, so here I have listed down couple of examples where we need data driven testing. So the first example is we want to test the login system with multiple input fields. Okay, so this is an example. Suppose we want to test the login system with multiple data sets of 100 different data. Okay, of 100 user you can take, you can say. To test this you can take the following different approaches. So the first approach is create 100 scripts, one for each data set, and run each test separately one by one. So what it says, will create 100 scripts for each data, and then we'll run our script one by one. So this would be very time consuming. What about approach 2 now? What it says, manually change the value in the test script and run it several times. So what we'll do, we'll create only one script, and every time we'll change the test data. So this will again time consuming process. What about third approach then? Import the test data from Excel sheet and fetch test data from Excel rows one by one and execute the script. So what it says, that we'll keep our test data in Excel format row wise. Okay, all the 100 test data, and we'll pick one by one in our test script. So in the given three scenarios, first two are laborious and time consuming. So these first two will take a lot of time, correct? Therefore it is ideal to follow the third approach. So third approach would be recommended. Okay, so this would be the best way. Thus the third approach is nothing but data driven framework. So this third approach is kind of data driven framework or data driven testing. And the second example of data driven testing is, let's say suppose we want to test different products in e-commerce application. Okay, so let's say we have typical e-commerce application where we want to test different products. Okay, so what would be the process? First we need to log in into the application, we have to pick the product, and we have to check out, and at last log out. Okay, make the payment and check out. So this is how the process in e-commerce application. So for this one also we can apply data driven testing. We can keep all the products in Excel sheet format, and we'll write only one script to execute over all the test cases, all the test cases for all sets of test data. What are the different advantages of data driven testing, or you can say data driven framework? So reusability of code. So definitely when we keep only one script for different sets of test data, then reusability of code will be there. No need to write the script again and again. Okay, so we can reuse the code for different sets of test data. Improves the test coverage. So definitely it will improve the test coverage. Let's say we have different scenarios. Take an example of login functionality. So suppose we want to test for valid login, invalid login. Okay, let's say with different suppose we want to test for different users. So we can write only one script, and we can supply all the test data for all the scenarios. So this improves the test coverage as well. So we can cover all the functionalities in a single test script by supplying different sets of test data. Faster execution. Okay, so there won't be duplication of code. Will keep only one test script. Okay, so this will enhance the performance as well. So we'll write, instead of writing 100 test script, we'll keep only one script. Okay, and another thing is less maintenance. So since we have a separate file to maintain the test data, so it would be easy to go there and change the test data accordingly, to set the test data accordingly. Okay, similarly for test script as well, suppose we want to change something, then we can go to test script and we can change accordingly. So very less maintenance will be there in data driven testing. And the last point is permits better error handling. So error handling would be also very easy, because we have separate, let's say something wrong with the test data, so we can go to the test data folder or test data file, and where there we can change our test data accordingly, and we have separate test script, and we can handle the error accordingly. Okay, whenever we get any error. So these are the different advantages of data driven testing. And then the question comes, like, how to implement data driven testing. So in TestNG we have DataProvider. Okay, so basically to pass the test data in our script, we have two ways in TestNG. The first one is using parameters from testng.xml file, and second would be DataProvider. So this is an important feature provided by TestNG, is the TestNG DataProvider feature. Okay, so it helps you to write data driven test, which essentially means that same test method can be run multiple times with different data sets to test this. So okay, so using this annotation at the test DataProvider, we can pick the test data and we can supply it to our test script. So I'll show you in couple of minutes with the help of demo. To use the DataProvider feature in the test, you have to declare a method annotated by DataProvider. Okay, so we'll maintain one method, separate method, where we'll use at the DataProvider, and then use the set method in the test method. Okay, so from here we'll in the separate method we'll use this DataProvider annotation to pick the test data and provide the test data into our test scripts. Here you can see, and then use the set method in test method using the DataProvider attribute in the at the test annotation. Okay, so we have separate method where we pick the data from using DataProvider. Okay, and we'll supply to our test methods. And DataProvider returns a two-dimensional Java object, and test method will invoke m times in a m into n type of object array. So that method, the separate method, will return two-dimensional object. Okay, so that will be denoted m into n, and this is rows and this is column. Okay, so row and column. So let's say suppose we have two rows and two columns, so our test case will execute two times. Suppose we have 4 rows and 2 columns, so that will run 4 times. Okay, according to the number of rows, our test case will execute that many times. Now today I'll show you this demo, data driven example without using Excel sheet. So here we'll understand like how to supply. So manually I'll create one, I'll create one 2D array of 2D array, and where we'll store our test data, and we'll pass the test data from there using DataProvider. Okay, and in the next video I'll show you data driven example with Excel sheet. So we'll pick the data from Excel sheet, and we'll pass the data to our script using DataProvider. Okay, so that we'll see in the next video. First we'll understand the concept of data driven testing. Okay, so let's have a look data driven testing of login functionality. Okay, so what I'll do, If you go to my blog automationtestinginsider.com, so just navigate to demo websites. So we'll pick any application and we'll implement the data driven testing for login functionality. Okay, so let's pick any application. So I'll pick this orange HRM application. So Eclipse is already opened here. So what I'll do, I'll create new Maven project. I'll select Maven project, click on next, create a simple project, next, and here I'll write data driven test, or let's write framework, data driven framework. It will be very long, so let's keep data driven only. I'll use artifact ID same as group ID, click on finish. So our project is created here, data driven. So here we have pom.xml, and here I'll use dependencies tag to put all our dependencies. Okay, dependencies to download all the required jar files. So already I kept in this notepad. So we need Selenium Java jar files first of all, correct? So I'll put Selenium Java jar files over here. I mean dependency. So this will download Selenium Java jar files, and the next thing we need is TestNG. So since we are not going to use Excel sheet today, so no need of Apache POI. Yeah, and yeah, instead of test you use compile, so that there won't be any compilation error and all the package will be imported. Okay, so simply we need to do Control S. So all the jar files will be downloaded here in Maven dependencies. You can see the Selenium Java, and you can see TestNG as well. Now what I'll do, inside main package I'll create one src main Java folder. I'll create one package com.base, and src test Java I'll create one test package com.test cases. What happened? com.test cases. Click on finish, and in this base package I'll create one class called base class to initialize WebDriver. Okay, so click on finish, and guys, already I have this setup method here. I have already copied to launch the browser. So simply I'll pick it up and put it over here. So this is just to launch the browser. So what I'll do, I'll declare our WebDriver here, driver, and we have to import Chrome driver from org.openqr.selenium.chrome. So this is done. So this setup method is to just launch the browser and navigate to URL. So what is our URL? This orange HRM. So I'll copy the URL from here and simply I'll put it over here. Okay, so here we have set the property of Chrome driver path, and this is Chrome driver object we have created to start the session, and simply we need to maximize the browser and navigate to this URL, and I'll give annotation before method, so it will run before every test method, and I'll write one more method, public void tear down, and simply what I'll do, driver dot quit. Okay, and this would be at the rate after method. Yeah, so this is simple base class where we are launching our browser and navigating to URL using setup method, and this is teardown method once our test case getting executed, and after that I'll close the browser and I'll write test case. Now I'll create one class, data driven test, click on finish. So we want to use the WebDriver, so I'll extend the base class. Now here I'll write first test case, public void, let's say login test, and in this test what we need to do is we need to inspect the username and password, and we'll supply username and password. So first of all we need to inspect from here what is the username. So this is the ID of username. So simply you'll write command driver dot, one second, why it is, I think it is not declared as public, so we have to declare as public here, public WebDriver driver. Now we can use driver over here, driver find element by dot ID, and we'll put our ID over here, dot send keys method we have. Similarly same is for password, so let's inspect password as well, txt password. Simply we'll put txt password over here, and what is the next, to click on login button. So what is, let's inspect login button as well. So button ID we have btn login, so we'll put it over here, and what we are going to perform, click operation, correct. So this is done. Now what we'll do, we'll pick the test data from our separate method which we are going to create in base class. So what I'll do, I'll store two parameters, have two parameters over here, string user name, and this parameter data will be supplied using DataProvider. So I'll show you in a couple of minutes. And I'll have one more parameter, string password, and same we have to supply here, and password as well. This is done. Now after logging into the application, let's put assertion. Okay, so what I'll do, we have command driver dot get current URL. Okay, so we'll get the current URL, and I'll store in variable, let's say this would be actual URL, store in a variable, and I'll have expected URL as well. Expected URL. So what would be the expected URL after logging into the application? So let's check admin and admin123, click on login. So this would be my expected URL. Okay, now simply we'll put assertion using assert class. We have method assert equals, and simply we'll put the actual URL over here and compare with expected URL. So this is how you can put the assertion. So our test case is ready. Now what we'll do, we need to supply the test data, correct, to this login method, login test method. So how we can provide, so here I'll create a separate method, let's say public void get data. Okay, and what I'll do here, I'll create an array, and we'll store some values, and we'll pass the test data. Okay, we'll annotate this with DataProvider and will pass the test data to test method. So how to store the test data? So I'll create an array of object type, so we can store every kind of test data, okay, whether it's boolean or string or okay numeric or anything we can store in this array. So this is how you can create the array. So here this is the data type and a double square bracket, and here we'll put the our array name, data objects, and using new keyword object. One second. Yeah, and here we have to define the array size. Okay, so let's say I want two rows and two columns. Okay, let's say 3 rows and 2 columns we want. So this is how we can create the array. Now here we want to, let's give simple name data only. Now let's store some values, put some values in array. Okay, so how we put data. So how it will store the values, let me show you. So we have created our array like this. Let me create one diagram over here. So 2D array, right? So in the form of rows and columns like this. So we have 2 columns and we have these are our rows. So we have 3 rows and 2 columns. Now we need to store the test data. So how will we store? So this would be 0th column and 0th rows. Okay, this will be 0th rows first column, this will be first row 0 column, this will be first row and first column. Okay, and this would be second row 0, second row first column. Correct. So this is how we need to store the test data. So index starts from 0, so this would be 0th column and 0th row, 0 1 2, and here 0 and 1. So let me, we can write, so this will be 0th row, this will be first row, and this will be second row. Similarly here column, this is the 0th column, and this will be, one second, let's write over here, this will be 0th column and this will be first column. Okay, so we have 3 rows and 2 columns. So now let's store the test data. So first would be 0 0. So we'll store the test data like this, admin, that is username. Okay, and simply copy paste. This is third set of test data. So 0 0 admin, this would be password. So 0 1 first 0 row and first column. So let's say first is valid login, second one is 1 0 and 1 1. So 1 0, I'll take this as admin 1, and what would be the column, I mean second test data for password 1 1. So this would be 1 and 1. Let's say password will keep the same. So this is my second test data. What would be the third test data? Third row, that means second index 2 and 0, and we'll use admin 2. And what would be for the password? Second row and first column. Okay, so this is how we can maintain the test data, and this will return data. Okay, and we have to change the method return type to object. So this is how we can keep our test data in the form of arrays. We have created arrays of 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so here I'm not using Excel sheet, guys. Okay, so in the next video I'll show you how to pick the data using Excel library, okay, in this method, and from here we'll pass the test data to our script using DataProvider. So here we can use, because we are maintaining in this get data, we are maintaining all the test data in this get data only, get data method. So simply we'll pick the data using DataProvider. So this is DataProvider annotation, and inside that bracket we have to write name and name of the data provider. So let's say name of the provider will give credentials, okay. And how to pass the test data into a script. So here we have to give @test annotation, okay, to run our test case using TestNG. Simply import TestNG this test from org testng.annotations, and inside bracket over here we'll write data provider, and this is the what you can say parameter, and here we have to pass the name of the data provider. So what is the name of the data provider? Credentials. Simply put the credentials over here. Now I think our test case everything is ready, so let me just recap like what we have done. So we have created couple of methods over here. We have setup method to launch the browser and navigate to this URL orange HRM inside base class, okay, and we have tear down, we have given annotation before method and after method, and in this test script we have created single test login test where we have written some Selenium commands to enter username and password and click on login button, and later on we have written one assertion to compare the expected and actual result, and we are passing the data to this login test using data provider from base class. So we have created a method get data, and here we have created an array of object type which stored the data, 3 data over here, okay, and using data provider we are passing the data to this login test method. So this is very simple test, guys. So let me just run it. So browser is launched, it will navigate to browser, navigate to orange HRM and enter username and password. User should successfully logged in, and it will close the browser. So this is my first set of test data. This would be second set of test data. It will enter username as admin1, which is wrong, correct? We don't have user like admin1, and this would be also, this will also fail, admin2. So all the test cases executed. We have 3 test cases, 1 pass and 2 failures. If you see here, so this is the first test case. Here you can see admin and admin123. This is the first set of test data. The second set of test data is admin1 and admin123, which is failed because of assertion error, because we are expecting this URL but we didn't get, because since user is not able to log in. The third similar is for the third test data as well, similar result. Admin2 is my username and admin is the password. So this is how you can execute your test cases using data driven testing. So we'll maintain Excel sheet in real time. So that example I'll show you in the next video, okay. So this is just to explain how data driven testing works, and where you can maintain your test data and how to pass using data provider. So in the next video, guys, I'll explain like how to perform data driven testing using Excel sheet. So this is all about today. So thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye. If you are new to my channel, then please subscribe it. Thank you. Bye bye.
Hello friends, welcome back to automationtestinginsider.com.
This is Selenium WebDriver part 69, and today we are going to talk about Data-Driven Framework part 2. So today we'll see the actual implementation of Data-Driven Framework using Excel sheet, how we'll prepare our test data in Excel sheet and how to pass the test data. And yeah, this is the actual implementation which we do in our real-time projects as well. We'll store the test data in Excel sheet and we'll supply different sets of test data from Excel sheet only. And how we do the parameterization I'll show you today. So let me just recap like what we have done so far in the previous video. So we have seen like what is data driven testing, and we have gone through the workflow as well, like how it works. Data driven testing, we have seen the definition, and later on we talked about why data driven testing is required. So we have seen couple of examples. So we have seen the login functionality. Okay, we have taken the login functionality as an example, and we have seen in the demo as well how we can do the login functionality, I mean data driven testing for login functionality. And later on we have seen another example with e-commerce application, test different products in e-commerce application. So these two examples we have taken in the last video, and we have implemented in demo this login functionality. And later on we have seen what are the different advantages of having a data driven framework, and how to implement data driven testing in your Selenium script. So that's what we have seen in the last video. We have used DataProvider, and we have created a separate method using that, and we have created an array to store the test data. And from using DataProvider we pick the data and supply it to our test script we have seen in the last video. And yeah, and we have seen finally demo. This is the first one we have seen, like data driven example without Excel sheet. So we have stored the data in an array only, and we kept the data in the method itself, and using DataProvider we have supplied the data to our test script. So this is what we have seen in the last video, and today I'm going to show you the next version of that, like we'll store the test data in Excel sheet, and how we can get the data from Excel sheet and how to pass to our test script we'll see today. Yeah, so let's get it started. So Eclipse is already open here, and last time we have created a project data driven. So let me just quickly recap what are the different packages and classes we have created. So inside src in Java we have created a package called com.base. There we have base class. In base class what we have setup method, simple setup method to launch the browser and navigate to Orange HRM website. And later on we have after method this tear down method to close the browser. And here we have created a separate method get data to prepare the test data using an array. So we have created an object type of array data, so that is of 3 rows and 2 columns. This is the size of our array, and we have supplied the data in the method itself. We have stored the data in this array. You can see 0th row 0 column, so like that. This is the 0th row and this is the first column. So we have seen in the last video how to store the test data in an array, and from here using DataProvider we have provided the these credentials, these user data to our test method. And we have created a inside src test Java we have created a package called com.testcases, where we have created our test class. So this is our test class, and here we have given the data provider name. So it will pick the test data from base class, this method get data method, and it will supply in terms of parameters. So we have a couple of parameters here, username and password. So since we have 2 columns only, so that's why we have taken 2 parameters. Now let's implement data driven testing using Excel sheet. Okay, so what we need to do is, first of all we need to create an Excel sheet. Okay, so we are going to create one folder over here. So right click on this project and we have an option new folder, and here I'll create, let's say, test data. So today we'll also implement the same thing, guys. We'll log in into Orange HRM application, and we'll parameterize our login functionality. We'll supply different sets of test data, and we'll see the login functionality, whether user is able to log in with different test sets of test data or not. So here my test data folder is created, and inside that what I'll do, let me go to that folder first. So this is my workspace, and here you can see the folder is created, test data, and here I'll create new Excel sheet. I give name as data, or let's say I'll give this name as user, and inside that I'll create couple of test data over here. So let's say username admin, and I'll take password as admin123. Next one I'll take admin1 and admin123. So let's keep two rows and two columns for now, two test data. Okay, this is username, this is password. So we have two sets of test data here, and let's rename this one as well, data. So this is done, and what we'll do, now we need to read the test data from Excel sheet. We need library, right? We have seen in Selenium WebDriver part 67 how to, we have seen the complete Excel library. So we'll take help of that complete Excel library to read the test data from Excel sheet. So I have in my previous project that library, so I'll just copy paste that one. We have this read Excel. Inside utility I have this. Simply I'll copy this library and I'll put it over in my current project. So what I'll do, I'll create a separate package over here, com dot, I'll give name package utility finish, and inside that I'll put my library. So what is, yeah, so since we do not have so we need to import Apache POI jar files, right? So what I'll do, I'll open my pom.xml, and I need to keep a couple of dependencies related to Apache POI. So we have already I kept in my notepad, so you can download it from you can get it from Maven repository. You can need to just Google it, and if you are using simple Java project, then you have to download jar files. So already I have explained that how to get the jar files while explaining how to read the Excel file and how to write the Excel file in those videos. So simply you copy these dependencies and put it in your pom.xml. Yeah, so we need to have couple of dependencies. These two dependencies, one is POI dependency, and version is 4.1.2. this is the latest version, and we have POI-OOXML. so these two dependencies are required to download all the jar files related to Apache POI, and just need to make sure that you should have same version for both these dependencies. So now I'll simply do Control S, and it will download all the jar files. So let's have a look. Yeah, now you can see the error is gone, and if you see the Maven dependencies, and it will download all the jar files. I'll show you. This is POI-OOXML, and here we have POI 4.1.2. so this is how you can download the jar files using Maven dependencies. And what I'll do now, you can see there is no error in our Excel library. Okay, so this is fine. So we'll read the method from here. I mean, we'll call the methods, whatever required methods in our script. Okay, so what I'll do to read the Excel file, I need to create one method over here in this base class. Okay, so let's create that method. Last time we have created get data, so let's create public void get Excel data. Like this we can create, and now we need rows and columns. First of all, we need rows and columns, so we have method in our new Excel library, but to use the method, to call the method from here, whatever require methods from here, we need the object of this Excel library, right? So what I'll do, I'll create the object in base class. At top we can create obj and we have to import this new Excel library from com.utility package which we have created, com.utility. So simply just import. Now our object is created for Excel library and we can use all the methods which we need in our script. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll supply the path over here, Excel path. So we have seen already in Selenium WebDriver part 67 we have couple of constructors. So this is default constructor and this is parameterized constructor. So we'll take help of this parameterized constructor, so we can pass the path, Excel path dynamically, okay, in the form of parameter. If we use this one, then simply we need to give the Excel path in Excel library. Okay, so this Excel library we have to provide path over here. So instead of doing that, simply I'll pass. So first let me refresh this, so we should able to see this user data. So I'll close it first of all and I'll refresh it again. So here you can see user xlsx and file, and simply I'll copy this Excel file path and I'll put in my while creating the object. I need to just put as parameter of this constructor. Okay, so my object is ready. Now simply what I'll do, I need to call, first of all we need to get the total rows count, correct count. So how to get that, we have a separate method in our Excel library, get row count, and here we need to just provide the sheet name. What is the sheet name we have? Let me open it. We have sheet name as data, so simply I'll provide data over here. Now we need total number of columns as well, so that we can iterate our for loop easily to get the data from this Excel sheet. So we need total columns. So we have obj dot get, one second, get column count, and here we'll provide the sheet name as well. Okay, so this will give me the total row number. So I'll store, this will return, this method will return int type, so I'll store in int variable, I'll say rows, and this will also give me int, I'll store in columns variable. So this is done. Now in the last video we have created an array to store the test data. So this time also we need to create the array, so with that so that we can store our test data in an array. So what I'll do, I'll create object type of array, so we can store any kind of test data, I mean any kind of data types. So let me give name data, my array name, and using new keyword will create the array, and I need to define the size of the array. Now last time we have given manually like 3 columns and 2 rows. Now this time we got dynamically our rows and columns. So simply I'll provide these rows over here, number of rows and columns. So it will, our array will be dynamic. So it will create our array based on the rows and columns. Now we are our array is created, and now simply I need to write for loop to get the data from Excel sheet and store in this array. So how to do that? So we'll create, I need to write 2 for loops. One is to iterate the rows and another one is to iterate column wise. Okay, so outer loop is to iterate the rows, and uh, inner for loop is to iterate the column. So we'll pick the data like this, first this one and then this column, and after we'll jump to second row and we'll pick the data, first data and the second data, like this. So let me write int I is equal to 0. We'll start our index from 0, the array index. Okay, and I less than, we have, will run our for loop till number of rows, and I plus plus will increment by 1, and inside this we need to write another for loop to iterate column. So column, let us start with 0, j less than, we have number of columns as well, and j plus plus. This is simple for loop we need to write. Now we need to store, we need to get the test data from Excel sheet and store in array. So how we can store data? So we have so we need to store like this. So this time we have rows and columns, right? So I and j. Now what we'll do, we have method in Excel library to get the data from Excel sheet. So we'll call that method. So what is that method? Obj dot obj dot get cell data. Yeah, this is the method we have, which will read the data from Excel sheet. So here I'll provide the sheet name, what we have, data, and column number. So column number we have j we can provide here, and row number, so row number should be I. Now if you remember guys, when we have seen this get cell data method, when we talked about this Excel library, so our row will start from first, this will row, this will it won't start with 0, it will start with first only, right? The first row, this will our row, this method will treat row as start with first row only, and this will be the second row. But here the value of I will be, initially it will be 0. Okay, because our loop starts with 0, I is equal to 0, and it will compare the second point, the second thing. Okay, I less than rows. So rows is currently 2, we have 2 rows and 2 columns, correct? So I is less than 2, so it will the condition is satisfied, so it will come over here inside this for loop, and j is equal to 0 initially, j is less than 2, and then it will pick the data from here, it will execute this one. So get cell data. So how to get the data from Excel sheet? So data, this is the sheet which we have, and j is initially 0, so it will point this column, this column, and I should be, since it starts with 1, so what I'll do, I'll do I plus 1 over here. Okay, because array index starts with 0, so we cannot keep 0 here, because our method, this method will pick row from the first row only. Okay, so that's why I have kept I plus 1 over here. So let me just show you how it will store the data. So first we need to understand our array. So array will start, array index will be 0 0, and this will be 0 1, this will be 1 0, and this would be 1 1. Now let's have a look. So initially I is equal to 0, I less than 2, I less than 2, and it will come over here, j is equal to 0. So both of I and j will be 0 0 here, and j is less than column. Okay, so yeah, it will go here, the condition is satisfied. Okay, so it will, now data of I is j, so data of I means 0 0, data of 0 0 will be, yeah, so this will call this method get cell data, and which will be get cell data of data 0, j, the value of j is 0 and the value of I is 0, so this will be data 1 0. So 1 0 means it will pick this data, 0th row and first row, sorry, 0th column and first row, so that means admin. So admin will come over here. Now second time, the increment of j, the j becomes 1. Okay, j is less than column, I mean 1 is less than 2, so it will check this one now, I mean it will store the data again. So data of 0 and 1, j, the value of I is still 0 and j is 1, and it will pick get cell data 1 and 1, data 1 and 1, so first column and first row, so the value of that would be admin 123. So admin 123 will store here, admin 123, and similarly now will increment again j with 1, so now the value of j becomes 2, so j is less than column. Okay, so this condition won't satisfy. Okay, so it will come out of this loop, I becomes 1, I is less than rows, so 1 is less than 2, so it will come to this loop. Now the value of j becomes 0, so now this time data of 1 and 0, so this is my data of 1 of uh, data of 1 and 0, and here this would be 0 and this would be 2, so 0th column and second row, so that means admin 1. So admin 1 will store here admin 1, and similarly we'll get admin 123. How do we get that? So second time the value of j will be 2, oh sorry 1, because initially it was 0. Now this would be data of 2 and 1, data of 1 and 1, data of 1 and 1, one second, yeah, sorry, data of 2 and 1, guys, yeah, data of 1 and 1 only, because the value of j is 1 and I is already 1 only, correct? So this would be data of 1 and 1, so that means this index 1 and 1, and here the j value of j is 2 and this is 2, so that means 2 and 2 is the second column, sorry, value of j is 1, guys, I'm getting confused, value of j is 1, so that means 1 over here first column and second row, so the value would be admin 123, so simply admin 123. So this is how it will store the data in array, and this is how we read the data from Excel sheet and store in array. Now we need to return data. Okay, so this method will return data, and the return type should be object. Now our method is ready, and simply will provide data provider over here. So I'll give data provider, and we have to give data provider name. So last time we have given credentials, so this time what we can give in double quotes, credentials 1, credentials 1. Okay, our method is ready, guys. Get Excel data, and we have annotated with data provider as well. Simply either we can create a new test script or we can simply provide the data provider name over here. So let me provide data provider name here only, credentials 1, which we have created just now. Okay, and now rest will be the same. This is Selenium script driver.find element. This is our locator for username, and here we are providing username and password. So let's say if you have multiple columns there, so that in that case we need to have multiple parameters over here. Right now we have only 2 columns, so we kept 2 values over here. So we'll get the values using data provider and we'll supply in our script. So I think everything is ready. I can run this script now. So let me just run it. And later on in the script we are comparing, we added a assertion to verify whether we are user is able to log in into the application or not. So it enters username and password for the first time and login into the application, because that is good test data. And this would be the second case for second test data, and it will enter username and password, which is wrong. We have provided wrong username. So here you can see this is the first set of test data, admin and admin 123, and this is the second set of test data. So this is how you can parameterize your test. You can perform data driven testing, admin 1 and 123. So this is failed because assertion error. Now let's do one more exercise over here. What will happen if you have a header? Okay, so I'll put username over here, and this would be password. And let's have one more test data over here. Let's have correct username and password only. So out of 3 test cases, 2 test cases should be passed. So we have a header over here, guys. Now, but our how many test data we have? We have 3 test data this time. Okay, so we need to just make little bit of change in our code. So how we'll do that? So this will read the number of rows, 4 rows, right? It will consider this one as well. So what I'll do, I'll create a new variable int actual rows. So that will read this will read the actual rows. It will get the total row count, and we'll do 1 minus over here. Okay, so that rows will be 4 minus 1, it will give 3. Okay, so because we have 3 rows, and we'll use these actual rows here and here as well, like this. And there is a little bit of change over here as well in get cell data method, because last time we started with here you can see the first row. Now we'll start with second row, so simply you'll put I plus 2 over here. So just little bit of change in the code, and I think rest will be the same. Yeah, now I can run this. So let me close this Excel sheet. Now this time it should run for 3 test data. So let me just run our script again. Browser is launched. It will navigate to Orange HRM. Enter first username and password. Login into the application successfully. This is the second set of test data, which is wrong. The username is wrong, so login failed. Now this would be the third test case where username and password is correct. So logged in successfully. Yeah, so out of 3 test cases, 2 passed, 1 failed. So here you can see this is the first set of test data, admin 1 to 3. This is the second set of test data, admin 1 to 3, which is failed because of assertion error. And this is the third test data, which is passed. So this is how you can perform data driven testing using Excel sheet. You can supply the test data from Excel sheet, and yeah, suppose you may have yeah, instead of 2 columns you may have some different columns as well. So you need to just increase the parameter over here in this login test. Similarly, if you have other test method, then you have to just pass the test data accordingly in your as per your requirement. Okay, and do not worry about notes guys, and notes and source code. So I'll provide the complete notes like we have here. In the first part we have different notes, so I'll provide in my blog. So if you navigate to Selenium tutorial, and here we have this form data driven framework. So here I'll provide the notes. So by the time I'll publish this video, I think by that time I should be able to create a post on this. So for these two, both the parts, part 68 and 69. Okay, data driven testing. And in the next video we are going to talk about Git and GitHub. So until unless if you don't miss anything previously, then I think I should be able to start Git and GitHub. I will recheck again. If anything is missing, then I'll cover, otherwise we'll start Git and GitHub. So that's all for today guys, and if you are new to my channel, then please subscribe it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.